you, there is no problem as far as availability of credit is concerned. You may not believe me or this thing, but still, if anywhere, at any step, any stage, if you are facing a problem, you straight away write to me, you come to me. I am always available.
Well, I think this SME problem is also similar.
Yes.
The SMEs are saying that 59-minute scheme which you have introduced, which is supposed to be based on actual data, it is a complete conundrum to know how the number comes out. If you put some data in it, some number comes. It looks like magic.
Yeah.
I put somebody's number.
So it is a algorithm based, but logic is very simple. That up to 5 crore, there was a wonderful committee called Nayak Committee. I consider it to be one of the best recommendations on MSME, where it says that we finance you 20% of your turnover, 5% you provide. So it assumed a 90 days working capital cycle.
Yes,
Right? But cycle is now bigger. So we have said that instead of 20, we will finance you 25%. So to that extent, you get 120 days working capital cycle. So the entire engine is based on the turnover analysis, which gets validated between your GST return, income tax return, and account statement. So there is a algorithm. It is machine based, but we have very clearly issued in writing the directions to our branch managers that if you give that amount, there is no accountability because it is system return. So we have given that comfort to our branch managers that you will not be accountable for disbursing that particular amount.
Sir, I actually, one of your colleagues is here, we worked and did a case study. The turnover of the company was 25 crores. The amount which came from the system was of 50 lakhs. So I try to understand what is the logic. Any kind of logic, your 3-month logic, it should be around 5-6 crores.
No, it could be. Like
So challenge is, problem is, I mean, like for example, credit authorization scheme when you launched, we could calculate ourselves what is our entitlement. In this model, we don't know what is the number coming out, and thereafter banks are now looking at that number, even though we have a choice of going to multiple banks and negotiating, the starting number is that number. So my request is, banks you should make it,
if there are any instances,
make it clear how it's calculated.
Yeah.
Then we will decide whether it is achievable. They're not inscrutable right now.
Yeah.
It's inscrutable.
right?
Yeah. Okay. The next question is about economy. I think we've been avoiding that issue. $5 trillion. It's a big controversy. There are so many views. Everybody has their own view. Mr. Subramania Swami his own view. What is your view about achievability of the time frame? Because obviously we will reach a $5 trillion economy. What is the time frame and is it achievable? What are the 3 or 4 things government, entrepreneurs, all of us should do to go towards that?
5 billion we will definitely achieve, there is no doubt. Time frame I am not. So whether we achieve it in 5 years, that is like a very difficult question to answer. But 5 trillion we will achieve for sure. And again I am saying that it will come on the back of private sector investment revival. Government investment alone cannot achieve this. And I think 2 steps, apart from many others which government took, one was cutting the corporate tax rate. And second is the clear roadmap of investment in infrastructure projects. But there may be certain sector specific issues which would need to be addressed, but infrastructure needs and the investment need in the infrastructure is huge. In a city like Mumbai or Hyderabad alone, you can invest a huge amount of money to bring it to the level of not very developed countries, but mid-developed countries. Our infrastructure is nowhere close to that. And infrastructure, whatever money you spend, the impact because of the linkage is 100% more. Yeah, so infrastructure, if suppose we are spending say 0.5%, and if you add another half, the GDP growth rate will double because there are so many linkages to the infrastructure sector. So that is one big push which is required. agriculture you spoke, there is like the investment is not commensurate with the size of the country, and there are a lot of help and support programs, but are they yielding the desired result? That is a question to be asked. So we are at a very early stage of development. So in terms of potential, if we see, the sky is the limit. But to find that kind of money and investment, that is definitely an issue. But I think entrepreneurs are entrepreneurs. So maybe you are feeling a bit down, but I think your optimism will go. At least after this session,
it should. That was one of the main things, to have you to stimulate a positive environment.
This question is about bank mergers. I think there has been a sequence of bank mergers. SBI itself merged with your subsidiary banks. What's been the experience? Because the assumption is that it should lead to lower cost to the customer, it should lead to better banking services for the customer or better service levels. What has been your actual experience? Has it improved? This person says, what is your experience? And be honest.
No, I will always be honest. So, if you ask me, it is as good or as bad as it was prior to merger. So, if you had a good experience prior to merger, post-merger also difficulty. If you had a bad experience, you may also not change your view. But the fact is that the mergers, it has helped in consolidation. Capital is a scarce commodity. So consolidation helps you in, one, improving the efficiency of the capital. Second is, of course, economics of scale. And third is, today, any bank, they have to spend a lot of money on technology and upgradation. If you are a smaller bank, you will find it difficult to mobilize that kind of resources. And from government's perspective also, being an owner and then supervising 26 banks and supervising 12 banks, it will be much easier from the government perspective also. So better banks, bigger banks, consolidation, and then we have almost an open banking license to the policy, where there are small finance banks, payment banks, private banks, so there is enough competition also. It did not make sense to have so many public sector banks doing the same thing and cloning each other. There was no differentiation either in terms of products or service. So I think government has taken that decision, and now it is the responsibility for the managements to execute it well. The State Bank experience was much better. One, because it was a family affair in a way. It was the same family.
Cousins got together.
And it is a happy united family now. And the technology platform was more or less identical, with some version gaps which we were able to handle. So it is a record that on a single day we merged 6 banks, and within 8 weeks we did the data merger. So doing data merger in 8 weeks, I think this would be a unique example. How do you do it? And fortunately, the HR, which is the biggest issue, so there was no issue around employee integration. From customer's perspective also, the erstwhile associate banks, their customer connect was considered to be better on the ground because they were smaller banks. So that many businessmen, when they come interact with us, they tell that they were getting a better personalized service when it was an associate bank, but your bank is too big and we are missing that personal touch. So that I accept that, I can't deny that.
The biggest challenge which SMEs face on funding is also low morale of many of the bank employees. You yourself mentioned in one of the interviews, in a single transaction, 250 people who are being investigated by CBI or something. You mentioned somewhere a large number of bankers across banks are under scrutiny for a transaction which happened at various points of time. SMEs are really dependent on the operating managers, right? how do we create a system to give them more confidence? Because if they don't give right at the file recommending us, we can't get paid or get the loan. How do we get more confidence into your bank employees at various levels to believe and also take that risk which you talk about? One is, of course, we talked about compliance rating as one model. What are the other models one can do to give them more confidence, including statute of limitation? Today, a banker is again, there's no limitation. As far as I know, you can be called to open up a fraud 25 years later what you did. Right? There should be a limitation on the credit decision a banker makes, maybe 5 years, maybe 7 years, so that at least he knows that after that there will be no follow-up on either CBI or whatever. So what are your views on building back the confidence of the bank employee, especially bank managers?
That is a very, I think, a very important task and a challenge for the top managements everywhere. And one is about the processes, the methodology, how do you handle credit? And second is that if something goes wrong, the accountability issue and distinguishing between whether it was motivated, malified, or it is bona fide. So that revision of manuals and processes, these are all internal things. That also we have done in the State Bank of India. Through communication also we are telling our people that they should not afraid in decision making. We have put in a monitoring mechanism. Now every proposal, we have told our people that we are now having a very state-of-the-art CRM software. So every proposal I have asked people to enter there, and we are tracking that, how it is being directed, what it is journey is, time-bound decision making, some reorganization of the, some reorganization is also happening so that SME gets focus. But I think based on technology process and the confidence which our people should get, a specialized workforce, so all this will have a positive impact. But unless it happens, I will not promise anything. So maybe after 6 months I will come again.
But I think, as I said, you should think about some kind of a statute of limitation for the bank manager decision-making process. How can we open-ended? How do you remember a transaction 10 years ago I did? How will I know what happened in the transaction? How is it fair to the banker?
I agree. I think for public servants it was 4 years. So
all the public servant lends money. They only borrow from us.
No, that is
funding the government.
That is true. But the message which has come right from the Honorable Prime Minister, then FA, then meeting of CBI director with the MD CEOs of public sector banks. So all these are the steps where the confidence level among the bankers is. Government is very actively trying to send that message to restore that confidence.
Nirmala Sitharaman made a statement, forget the PCs. She made a statement, 3 CBI, CBC, don't worry about that. So, but on the ground, we are not seeing much of an impact.
So it doesn't happen so soon. So it will take a little bit of time.
Okay, last question. Then I think that gentleman who raised the hand, I think we'll allow you to ask the last question after I finish. Startups. I think today government is talking about startups in a big way. Colleges are being identified. Individual students from colleges are being supported. But equity financing is not coming easily into that system. And the bank system has no products and services. Other specifically for startups, how can startups be helped by banks to come to some stage for scale up?
For the startups, I think it will be mostly venture capital. It is not the typical bank traditional lending because the mortality rate is very high. Traditional methods of lending would not work. All the angel investors, venture capitalists, so startups will have to depend on that type of capital.
Okay.
Any other help?
Yeah, I think that question you can ask.
Bangalore, which is in Cube Grant. So we do a lot of holding of the startup about the banking products, how should they go, forex, everything. But lending is not bankers' cup of tea as far as the startups are concerned.
Non-financial services is where the hope is there for them. I think we should engage with them because startups need banking experience.
That support we are ready to provide.
Okay, one last question, yeah.
Good support, ground level, your people have no mechanism. I know in Warangal there are 3 cases where 1190 circular of RBI they did not honor, they made us to go around. Like similarly, some NCLT case in MSME below 25 crores, they are not treating, they are treating us as like arrears. I don't know, and there is no mechanism of monitoring. We don't get an appointment with your DGMs and GMs when we want to restore. So I don't know what is the kind of mechanism. We cannot come to you always.
Yeah, that is true. And I think what I will have to do is that publish in the newspapers on the front page that these are the people you should approach. Because down the line I have a huge infrastructure of, in all the 17 LHOs we have DGM SMEs. They are there. They are not available, so that is something that is a deficiency which we will have to correct. But I take your point, as I said in my remarks, that we are doing some reorganization around MSME, and very small cases, in any case, we are not interested in taking them to NCLT. So I don't think that NCLT is the right forum for a loan of less than 25 crore or 15 crore. Yeah, so we'll take care of that.
I think as you wrap up, I just want to make one brief comment, and that is to commend Mr. Rajnish Kumar, not just on the frank dialogue and the future-looking aspects, but his tremendous depth of input in technology. And I think that being grounded in technology is how you're going to take SBI into the future. It was really very interesting to hear that the word technology kept coming back in multiple solutions, and that's very, very powerful. Thank you.
Talk a little bit about YONO.
YONO business, particularly for these people, you must start using it and enroll for it.
But tell them about it. I don't think many people know about YONO.
So YONO,
How many of you know about SBI's YONO?
quite a bit.
I'm impressed.
Right. So one is that YONO is a good job. But what I want to tell you is that so far, for last 18 months, 20 months was on retail, individual. But now